プッシュ接続しました。まだ視聴者が見れる状態ではありません。放送開始してください。公開配信を開始しました。
Hi Orangey-kun. Something
は
funny
い。
happened in your room.
銀名のブエノスノチェス。How is my room? This
Buenos
stream
noches.
feeling. This is morning sunshine in Japan.
Maybe this light yes. www.
そう。部屋の明かりを消して。How's
April 3
your
love April 3 love April 3 love.
weekend? はい、アプリルか。ドーブリウルトラ。
Hi.
今から、おはよう。英語を勉強するの前に、コーヒーを沸かして。それから英語勉強をする。ちょっと待ってね。I need to do something.
I'm going to sleep Orangey-kun. See
お
you
やすみ。
tomorrow.
It is very deep night. See you tomorrow. I will start learning English. エンドがないな。ちょっと待ってよ。これやるだけやって。 適当に音楽かけるか。何かけよう。
匿名おはよう。
おはようございます。もう2月もう19日。残り10日。31日がある月を減らして2月に持ってくるってのは無理なのかな。なんで2月だけ 2日少ないんだろう。7月と8月が連続で、31日だけど、そこを削って入れればいいのに。せめて29日。 この時間配分も。よし、やります。総選考、プレディクション。アンティシペーション、コンジェクチャー、エクスペクテーション、フォーキャスト。なんだかんだやっぱ足元寒いな。Anticipation, conjecture, expectation, forecast, prediction, pressing 最速、実施、緊急、prediction pressing ね。pressing な。強い。影。輪郭。輪郭。角度いけない。シオって。おえって。おえって。矛盾する。contradict。offering。提供。offering。保証する。責任を持つ。vouch for。と、なんだっけ。と、vouch。まあ、vouch。disorder。障害。私物化。appropriation。appropriation。appropriate。indefinite。indefinite。無期限。indefinite。ね。 意見 in defense 捕虜になった。セーラーメンだ。captive procrastination 先延ばしや変態 aware sentience sentience おいセンチアンス意識クラビコ
clavicle,
カラボ petrified 化石か石か呆然質 petrified 呆然自質はピグメンテ顔料ピグメンテspecular マッポリフレクション問い合わせアクイジション違うなインクワイアリインクワイアリスランダーはなんだっけあれだ、妨害じゃなくて、なんちったっけ。非難中傷。誹謗中傷。不安だな。エンアージ。腹を立てた。enraged 腹を立てた。水没 submerged ラーメンって悔やむ悔やみ追悼食いるラーメンってラーメンってtormented 痛めつけられた激痛苦の痛めつけるかフート袋鳴き声やじるフートコンジェッションテーザブリング会議混雑渋滞コンジェッションコンジェッションコンドーレンスはせや condolence。悔やみ当時、condolence。
Fascinate.
fascinate。fascinate。
hypnotized,
hypnotize で、mesmerize、fascinate、hypnotize。fascinate、hypnotize。fascinate、mesmerize。fascinate。句読点、punctual。punctuation。惜しい。
Punctuation. Punctuation.
punctuation。punctuation。punctuation。
deprive,
deprive。奪う、拒む。deprive。deprive。奪う、拒む。
Interchangeably.
奪う。
deprive,
deprive。関係。irrelevant。
irrelevant,
transgression,
トランスグレッション。罪。配信。違反。トランスグレッション。腹を立てた。アップセッティで。インライジ。インライジ。腹を立てた。
Interchangeably.
インナーチェンジャブル。インナーチェンジャブル。
匿名は
交代できる。おはようございます。
匿名靴も
ぐんもぐんも。今日も張り切って英語練習。そう、朝に声出すと調子がいい気がする。インナーチェンジャブル。交換できるよ。交互に。テレコ。インターチェンジャブル。
Interchangeably.
インナーチェンジャブル。t 発音しないんだよな。インナーチェンジャブル。インナーチェンジャブル。みんな t 嫌いすぎ。インナーチェンジャブルで交換できるように。はい。I use pants interchangeably. I use interchangeably my pants. 交換できるように使う。I have pants. パンツじゃないか。underwear. I have a lot of underwear interchangeably. 交換できるように。deprive. 奪う、拒む。deprive. 奪う5番。deprive。deprive。奪う5番。徹夜見張り、つや。vigil。
Vigil.
徹夜見張り、つや。vigil。
Implication.
implication。巻き込み。手の込んだ。implication。implicate for。関係あるとする。interchangeably。implication。音量大丈夫かな。implication。水筒、もう、ラーメンって。水筒するクイル、ラーメンって。immersion。没入。need。役に立つ。意味のある。いいね。面白い。に。呆然して。petrified。即的。complementary。complementary。mentally。chirping。鳴き声。chirping。副作用。サブ。リプロダクションじゃなく、サブエフェクト。サイドエフェクト。奪う1。deprive。気ならす。デプライブできてないって。気ならす。スラン。in around 2 hours to go. 2 years to indicate. 示す。インディケーター。indicate.
My son, good morning.
Hi, Dika. Good morning. Tonight, Shima. Indicate.薬剤襲来。calamity, primal calamity, invoke calamity, invoke, 襲来、invoke, calamity,薬剤襲来、calamity。 カラミティ。カラミティ。不足してる。inadequate。inadequate。輪郭。シュレット。silhouette。silhouette。フランス語っぽい。silhouette。売店。スター。ストー。
匿名そろそろ歩いて出勤してくる。
でらっしゃい。日曜出勤。お疲れ様です。
匿名とも通勤最後。
徒歩通勤気持ちよさそう。まあ今の時期大変そうですけどね。ずーっと座ってるから、普通に歩くのって楽しい。スター。まあ、毎日歩くのはめんどくさいけど。奪を拒む。歩いてる時って何聞いてますか？音楽、ラジオ、オーディブル、ニコ生、奪う、拒む、deprive。deprive。implication。関係があるとする巻き込む。追悼、フィル。ラメンテ。ラメント嫌われてんなぁ。カラミティ、薬剤。カラミティ。OK。too fast。暗記で。Hello。S になったのにまだちょっと足りてない。
What's up? It's Mike. I have something to ask you. Is it the 19th?
19, yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Oh no, I have a date today.
Date today. Good
Later.
luck. Later. うわー、おすすめに6の1が来た。Excuse me, I had a stop your feet from smelling. Do you sell them?
They're over here.
Yeah, over here. They are
They're made of
over
a
here.
new material.
Material.
$30 a pair.
$30 a
but
pair
they're
per
worth it.
pair. Worth it.
I see.
I
I'll
see.
take 2 pairs.
Alright, take 2 pairs ってか2足買おう。
Excuse me. I heard that there are socks now that stop your feet from smelling.
I heard it. Excuse me. I
heard
heard
that there are socks now that stop your feet from smelling.
it.
Excuse me. I heard that there are socks now that stop
There.
your feet from smelling. Excuse me. I heard that there are socks now that stop your feet from smelling.
There.
Excuse me. I heard that there are socks now that stop your feet from smelling.
No.
Excuse me. I heard that there are socks now that stop your feet from smelling.
Stop. Your feet to smell.
Excuse me.
I
I
heard
heard that there
that there
are
are
socks
socks
now
now
that
that
stop your feet
from
from smelling.
smelling. Stop your feet from smelling. 足の匂いを止める。Ring.
Excuse me.
I heard that there are
socks
socks now that stop your feet from smelling.
Do you sell them?
Do you sell them? Do you sell them?
They're over here.
They are over here. They are over here.
They're made of
They
a
are
new
made with new
material.
material. They are made from
They're
by
made of a new material. They're made of a new material.
made of 何から作られるは made of あ new material They are made of new material
They're $30 a pair.
はい
but they're
4分
worth it.
出力グーテンアベンで They
They're $30 a pair, but they're worth it. They're $30 a pair, but they're worth it.
$30 a pair. Guten Morgen. A pair. But they are worth it.
They're $30
These
a
are
pair,
a pair,
but
but
they're worth
they
it.
are worth it.
I see.
I see.
I'll take two
I
pairs.
take 2 pairs. I see. I take 2 pairs. I see. I
I'll
do
take two
take 2
pairs.
pairs. Google 久しぶり。
Hi.
はーい。
I heard you're quite good at English these days. I think you are overrating yourself. I'll show you what real English is like.
Please.
Amazon で規制11巻と2巻を
はい、ホエルさん。まあまあ、聞くまでもない。聞くまでもないです。Hey 猫。うんゲ猫、ゲって猫。鳥の子ああ。ベイコレ猫。おおだ。Impossible.
You want a typical conversation? Life isn't that easy.
Life isn't that easy. But easy. Let vehicle. vehicle. いやもう、ホエルさんは3巻4巻読みたくてたまらない状態なんじゃないでしょうか。 If I feel sleepy, I drink a cup of coffee. If I feel sleepy, I drink a cup of coffee. What is wrong with you? What's wrong with you? 何ですか？ Are you going to stop smoking? Are you going to stop smoking? The time of the meeting will be changed. The time of the meeting will be changed. I have been feeling tired recently. I have been feeling tired recently. The cake. Left the shop. Left in the shop didn't look so tasty. The cake left in the shop didn't look tasty. If I knew the answer, I would tell you. If I knew the answer, I would tell you. She asked us if we had a reservation. She asked us if we had a reservation. She これ最後何だったんだろう。あれ。もしかしてホエルさんはそんなに寄生獣好きではなかった。He was sleeping with his mouth open.
面白いとは思うんですが、実写の映画版とそこまで違いますかね。
He was sleeping with his mouth open.
He was sleeping with his mouth open.
多分読み進めていくと、まあ2巻までで導入部分ですからね。タミヤ涼子タミヤ涼子の部分とか、あと強盗の部分、あと市長の広川、探偵の、探偵の苦悩と戦いと、タミヤ涼子の対応とか、あと、やっぱ、2巻、まあ、こっからですよ。主人公の体の変化と。それらをすべて含めて10巻でまとめる。
ホエール、2巻派母親が殺されて、復讐を始めるところ。
その、復讐始めるところで出会うところで、寄生獣が、何なのか。 っていうところが、そこで、その、3巻で出てくるキャラクターで、広がりを見せるんですよね。ああ、なるほどね。そういうのもあるの。で、それが最後の伏線になってくるんですよ。Do you have anything to add to this? to が何なんだ ?to は何のためにそしてその、帰ってきた、母親の復讐のそのフェーズが終わった後で、主人公に起こる変化。本当のこと言うと映画版を見てません。映画版、アマプラで見えますかね？見てないけど、まあ、やっぱりどうやっても原作を超えることは無理。どんな小説とかアニメ、漫画をアニメ化したときに、シーズン分ければまだいけるのかな。寄生獣。どこで見れる？書いてないな。アマプラ無理だ。早っ。あら、全然だった。評価低いな。Unext と DMM で見れる。
匿名喫煙休憩。
喫煙を続ける理由ってどんなとこですか？
漫画の内容がメイドインアビスのレビューを見たりして、ここ最近思ってたこととぴったり合致して驚きました。
ほう、何ですか？何を思っていた？最近、喫煙し続けるの方が意志いりそうな気がするんですよね。やめる方が、ニコチン中毒よりも吸ってる人への風当たりの強さの方がきつい気がして。
ホエール、人間が他の生き物を殺すことの正当性についてですね。
なるほど、そのレビューがあると。Do you have anything to this?
Do you have anything to add to this?
正当性。逆に言うと、なぜ人間は人間を殺してはいけないのかってところですよね。遠くで遠くでスローリー私たちに音楽がマジでやだな。遠くでスローリー
ホエール。なぜ人間を殺してはいけないのかなど、まさにそれですね。
それは、ダーウィンと、あと、ダーウィンの種の起源と、そう。ページを読んでくると、その中で、論文じゃないけど、大学の講義が出てくるんですけれど、やっぱそこもすごい興味深いところを指摘していいんですけれど、ドーキンスとダーウィンの種の起源を見ると、読むと、ある程度、理解。あと、おすすめは、コンラード・ローレンツの攻撃っていう本があるんですけど、で、なんでこの3冊あげたかっていうと、ダーウィンの種の起源は、生物がどうやって進化してきたかっていうことで、それの発展系で、利己的な遺伝子っていうのが、そのドーキンスが書いてるんですけれど、人間は遺伝子の乗り物であるっていうことを言ってるんですけれど、で、そこで、生物っていうのは何のために生きてるのか、どういう行動原理なのかっていうのをそこで示してて、で、そこでその正当性、つまり種を通過せるってことに関して、どんな戦略が一番いいのか、つまり人間が人間を殺す世界っていうのは、それは続いていくのか、じゃあ他の生き物を殺す。で、殺していいと思うのといけないのには何の差があるのかっていうのをそこでも説明というか、こうじゃないのかっていうのを言ってて。で、他の生物に対して攻撃していい、悪いはなんで起こるのかっていうのを、今度はコンラード・ローレッツっていう、ドイツの動物学者が言ってるんですけど、で、それなんで攻撃していいのか、しちゃ悪いのか、つまり食物の奪い合いがそこで発生するし、自分を生き延ばするに食べ物を得る、情報を得る、あとは、配偶者を得る。それに対して競合する相手を攻撃する。だからそこでは同族殺しも発生するけれど、それが行き過ぎると種族全体が死んでしまう。 っていうのをやってるんですけれど、そこを読むと面白いです。2分。あれ ?9 時スタートだったら遅れてる。シートグで。仕事場近いのはいいですね。帰るときも気軽。シートグで to us. more than more すごい。カード。マウスウォッシュ。ということは、9時半スタートっぽい。Talk to us more usual than more slowly than usual. この感覚わかんないな。more slowly than usual. She talked to us more slowly. 副詞が後に来るんだよな。16分入り。
匿名状の
頑張ってください。今日も一日。はい。couldn't I can't relax with can't relax I can't relax with you watching me like that 説明する with you watching me like that I can't relax with you watching me like that はい、パノバンさんめっちゃ久しぶりですね。どうですかお仕事の方は。英語勉強の方も。ああ、そうだ。コッパーのバンさんにおすすめしたいアプリケーションがあったんだ。
忙しいですので、久々にツイッチを
はいはいはい。じゃあ、ストリームまあでも自分のストリームを見るのと他人のストーリーを見るのって、なんか心理衝撃がちょっと違いますよね。俺はずっと、ほとんど他人のストリーム見ない。これ。ランゲージリアクターがめっちゃいいので、おすすめです。これが、Netflix と YouTube で使えるんですけど、あと Chrome だけかな。こんな感じで、英語の YouTube の翻訳機能あるじゃないですか。あれで、日本語字幕が出るだけじゃなくて、英語字幕も一緒に出て、で、そこで、この知らない単語とかが、これでポップアップして、で、この、詳しい意味が出て、お金払うと、これそのまま暗記レックに入れれるんですけど、払うのが嫌なんで。そのまま、俺は手作業で、暗記レックに入れてます。
無料が一番です。
あ、でも、なんだったら、ただ、そう、入れるときに、 画像情報とか自分で音声入れたりできるから、結局、うわ、フルムービーがある。面白そう。うわー、これ後で見よう。アルファーゴだ。
Men dream of women. Women dream of themselves being dreamt of. Men look at women. Women watch themselves being looked at.
ね、そう、英文で読みながら見れて、でわかんない単語をそのままチェックして、やれるんで、なんか今まで教えてもらった
Women constantly meet glances, which act like
glances
Glances.
mirrors, reminding them of how they look or how they should look. Behind every glance is a judgment.
え、
Sometimes the glance they meet is their own, reflected back from a real mirror.
っていうのができるんで、めっちゃこれは対応して、で、ブレンダーの勉強と一緒にやったりしますね。ああ、違う。with the women with her
Three.
class で
なぜ人を殺してはいけないのか、先ほどの3冊を読んでどういう結論に達しましたか。ネトフリ見るとき活用します。では散歩行ってきます。
いってらっしゃい。人はなぜ殺していけないのか。人を殺すと自分が殺されちゃうからですね。っていうのと、殺されちゃう。っていうのと、あと自分が生き残る可能性が低くなる。自分ができないこと。自分の中に耐性がないことっていうのが、その人にはできるかもしれない。で、そしたら、その人ができることで自分が生き残る確率が高まると。というわけで、社会の行動として、人をいくらでも殺していいっていう社会よりも、人を殺してはいけないっていう社会の方が、自分自身の身が守れるし、社会も発展しやすくなる。っていうことですね。The women with her legs crossed is my aunt. The woman with her legs crossed is my aunt. 逆に言えば、自分に危害を与えるような人、自分の生存確率を下げるような人は殺した方がいいってことにもつながる。それがベースです。俺の結論です。だから The snow was as soft as it was yesterday. The snow isn't as soft as it was yesterday. The snow isn't as soft as it was yesterday. Made a decision to buy the house. Made a decision to buy the house. I made a decision to buy the house. He was told to be the member of the team. で、あることをこれ読む。was proud to be a member of the team. He was proud to be a member of the team. 言っていいのにな。言ってストップで。ホエールさんはどうですか？人をなぜ殺していけないと考えますか？would be か。It would be stopped if raining 雨が止んだらいいのにな。言って would be nice. It would be nice if 言って
ホエール、情ですかね。
情を説明してください。情。少し未定義なので。何をもって情としますか？
ホエール、殺したらかわいそうという気持ちですかね。
殺したらかわいそうという気持ち。殺したらかわいそうだという気持ち。なるほど。ということは、殺してもかわいそうだと思わない人は殺してもいいということ。殺してもいいという社会なら、殺して大丈夫。例えば、じゃあ、牛がいて、人間がいて、無人島で、殺したらかわいそう。だから、人間は牛を殺してはいけない。そこでは。殺したらかわいそうという気持ちがある。It would be nice. Nice. If it stopped raining. なるほど。雨が止む。It would be nice if it If I knew the answer, I would tell you. I knew the answer, I would tell you. If I knew the answer, I would tell you. I have been lived here since I was 9 years old. I have lived been いらないのか。I have lived here since I was 9 years old. I have lived here since I was 9 years old. since that day. Since that day, she has been thinking. She has think about him. Since that day, she had been thinking. ここは過去完了って言った。そう、過去完了。Had been thinking about him. Since that day, she had been thinking about him. この旅行で彼らはアフリカを3度訪れたことになります。この旅行で、After this trip、この旅行で、After this trip、They will have been Africa 3 times visited. They will have visited Africa 3 times. Ooh. 未来のある時点までに経験していると思うことは will have 未来のある時点までに経験していると思うこと。After this trip, they will have visited Africa 3 times.
After this trip, they will have
They will
visited
have
Africa
visited
3 times.
Africa 3 times. 雨が止んだらいいのにな。It's nice. It would be nice. これさっきやったな。It would be nice if it stopped rain. 過去形になるのか。It would be nice if it stopped raining. It would be nice if it stopped raining. 昨日雨が降ったら明日 If it rain tomorrow, we will play indoor. If it rain tomorrow, we will play indoors.
If it rains tomorrow, we'll play indoors.
We will play indoors. We have We will have taken かもしれないか。We might have taken the wrong bus. Might have taken the wrong bus. We might have taken the wrong bus. たとえ雨が降ってもコンサートは進められるでしょう。Even if even if 雨が降っても even if で rain The concert will go ahead. It rains. The concert will go ahead.
Even if it rains, the
rains,
concert will
the
go ahead.
concert will go ahead. 私は6時に彼に電話したが、その時彼はまだ寝ていた。I called him at 6. Then he was sleeping. I called him at 6. When he was still sleeping. お腹が痛い。I called in at 6 when he was still sleeping.
I called him at 6 when he was still sleeping.
Was still sleeping.
How are you
feeling today, Nancy? I stopped coughing, but my nose is still running. I have sore throat.
Your fuck smile.
I don't think you need to take any medicine. Just stay in bed for a few days.
Am I fucked? Smile.
That's all?
What do you mean?
Today, Nancy?
I will make nuclear bomb. Be right back.
I'm fucked by V. Dick A. And I like that.
頑張れー。
はい。はい。T 今日3。
How are you feeling today, Nancy?
How are you? How are you feeling, Nancy?
How are you feeling today, Nancy?
Today, Nancy.
How are you feeling today, Nancy?
I've stopped coughing.
I stopped the coughing.
I've stopped coughing.
まず、
I've stopped coughing.
はで、
I've stopped coughing.
合図
I've stopped coughing. I've stopped coughing.
I've stopped coughing. I stopped coughing.
But my nose
But
is
my
still
nose
running,
is still
and I have a
running.
sore throat.
But my nose still
But my nose is still running, and I have a sore throat.
knowing.
But my nose is still running, and I have a sore throat.
Running. Nose is still running. 鼻水は nose is running.
But my nose is still running, and I have a sore throat.
And I haven't. I have a 喉は throat.
But my nose is
Stuffy
still
nose.
running, and I have a
Phlegm.
sore throat.
Stuffy nose. Phlegm. Stuffy.
But my nose is still running, and I have a sore throat.
Phlegm asterisk.
Sore throat. Phlegm. Too difficult word. Tongue. Phlegm. Useful term. いいね。それは使いそう。Phlegm. Phlegm. MTG にあるかな。うわ。MTG。アマチュアは、ダクムはプラグ。ないな。ダクムは、
Nasal congestion.
タンなんてないな。ナザールコンディション。 なざる。
But my nose is still running and I have a sore throat.
sore throat.
But my
But my
nose
nose is still running and I have a sore throat.
I don't think you need to take any
I don't think you
Nowadays people
need
just refer to it as a giri nose.
ギリギリノーズ。I see. I will use
LUL.
ギリギリノーズ。I have ギリギリ nose because my nose has 20 type of allergy
I don't think you need to take any medicine.
to take any medicine. I don't think you need to take any medicine.
Just stay
in bed for a few days, drink plenty of water.
Just stay in bed for a few days and drink plenty of water.
Stay in bed.
Just stay in bed for a few days and drink plenty of water.
For a few days. And
just stay in bed for a few days and drink plenty of water.
Drink plenty of water.
That's all?
That's all?
That's all?
That's all. Okay. Let's watch YouTube. Bad. 商店グループ。商店グループ。商店グループを
A woman is always accompanied, except when quite alone, perhaps even then, by her own image of herself. While she is walking across a room, or weeping at the death of her father, she cannot avoid envisaging herself walking or weeping.
Envisaging.
envisaging. うわ、予想、想像。あのと、予想ワード。
From earliest childhood, she is taught and persuaded to survey herself continually. She has to survey everything she is and everything she does, because how she appears to others, and particularly how she appears to men, because how she appears to others, and particularly how she appears to men, is of crucial importance for what is normally thought of as the success of her life.
大丈夫かなおっぱい。YouTube will ban me because nipples.
A woman in the culture of privileged Europeans is
Talking
first and
Privileged.
foremost a sight to be looked
Super
at.
Vinland.
What
こう
kind
いう
of sight
既
is
成人
revealed
派
in
そ
the
のあたり
average
のテーマにどう
European
結論
art
付
painting?
けてるのだろうという
There
の
were
が気
portraits
に
of
なる
women
と
as
こ
well
ろ。
portraits of men. But in one category of painting, women were the
右
principal,
がいい
ever
こと言いま
recurring
すよ。
subject.
多分、自分の、そこら辺の感覚も、寄生獣から、影響を受けてるところ多い。
In the nudes of European
Discover.
painting, we can discover some of the criteria and conventions
Criteria.
Criteria.
基準。
for judged. We can see how women were seen. What then is a nude?
ちょっと待ってね。これ、やばいから、多分、HH でニモがバンしてくるから、ニモを切るか。ニモと、YouTube 切れないんだよな。怖いな。YouTube 一旦。YouTube、ホイールさんがいた。もしエロで止まったら、ホイールさん教えてください。やっぱり厳しいんだよな。
ホエール、結局曖昧にしてるんじゃないかと思うんですが、違うんですかね。
最後に、ちゃんと、そこの、まあでも最後まで、それがテーマですからね。最後まで読んでみると。
In the European oil painting, nakedness is not taken for granted, as in archaic art. Nakedness is a sight for those who are dressed. That is why Manet's painting, which really
最後のキャラクターが、そこを浮き彫りにしてます。
The story of Adam and Eve as told in Genesis. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was a delight to the eyes, and that the tree was to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat. And she gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked. And the Lord God called unto the man, and said unto him, Where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, and I hid myself. Unto the woman God said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband.
ブレータントは、コンプレイン。
Orange tells blatant lies.
Two things are striking about this story. They become aware of being
ブレータントライ。
because as a result of eating the apple, each sees
露骨、露骨か。ブレータントはあれだ。ミステイク。ブレータント。あれ。ウィール。
Nakedness is created in the mind of the beholder.
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 見物人。
Is that the woman is blamed and is punished by being made subservient to the man. In relation to the woman, the man becomes the agent of God. In medieval art, the story is often illustrated scene following scene, as in a strip cartoon. During the Renaissance, the narrative sequence disappears, and the single moment, which is nearly always depicted, is the moment of shame. The couple wear fig leaves or make a modest gesture with their hands. But now, their shame is not so much in relation to one another as to the spectator. It is the spectator's look which shames them. Later, as painting became more secular, many other subjects offered the opportunity of painting nudes. But always in the European tradition, the nude implies an awareness of being seen by the spectator. They are not naked as they are. They are naked as you see them. Often, as with the favorite subject of Susanna and the elders, this is the actual theme of the picture. We join the elders to spy on her. She looks back at us, looking at her. Sometimes the woman, Susanna, looks at herself in a mirror, picturing to herself how men see her. She sees herself, first and foremost, as a sight, which means a sight for men. Thus, the mirror became a symbol of the vanity of women.
Miller.
Miller. Price. 納屋、製粉業者。
Yet the male hypocrisy in this is blatant. You paint a naked woman because you enjoy looking at her. You put a mirror in her hand, and you call the painting vanity, thus morally condemning the woman whose nakedness you have depicted for your own pleasure, and thus, incidentally, repeating the biblical example by blaming the woman. The judgment of Paris was another favorite mythological subject with the same idea of men looking at naked women.
Is this useful?
Paris awards the apple to the woman he finds most beautiful. Beauty in this context is bound to become competitive. The judgment of Paris is transformed into the beauty contest. Aesthetics, when applied to women, are not as disinterested as the word beauty might suggest. I don't want to deny the crucial part that seeing plays in sexuality, but there's a great difference between being seen as oneself naked or seeing another in that way, and a body being put on display. To be naked is to be without disguise. To be on display is to have the surface of one's own skin, the hairs of one's own body, turned into a disguise which cannot be discarded.
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 The tens of thousands of European oil paintings of nudes. There are perhaps 20, 30 exceptions. Paintings in which the artist has seen the woman revealed as herself. This Rubens. This Rembrandt. This Georges de la Tour. These paintings are as personal as love poems, and their character is quite distinctive. Most nudes in oil paintings have been lined up by their painters for the pleasure of the male spectator owner, who will assess and judge them as sights. Their nudity is another form of dress. They are condemned to never being naked. With their clothes off, they are as formal as with their clothes on. Those who are not judged beautiful are not beautiful. Those who are given the prize. Prize is given, that is to say, to be available. Charles II commissioned this secret painting from
ちょっとこれやばいかもな。ちょっと YouTube バンされそうだな。
It might be Venus and Cupid, but in fact it was a portrait of one of his mistresses, Nell Gwynn. It shows her passively looking at the spectator, staring at her naked. Her nakedness is not an expression.
わー、やばい。
It is only a sign of her submission.
トロボが7日間禁止してきた。うわー、セックス&バイオレンス。キャー。ダメだって。気をつけよう。これは危ない。Dangerous. 7 day.
LUL.
We look, we buy. It is ours. Ours to consume, to sell again, perhaps to give away. More often, ours to keep.
You can have that for £2. Tea caddy. Because they have many types of Chinese that put them in rows.
We look, we buy, and we collect valuable objects. But the most valuable object of all has become the oil painting. Oil paintings often depict things which in reality are buyable. To paint a thing and put it on a canvas is not unlike buying it and putting it in your house. The objects within the painting often appear as tangible as those
Tangible.
有形、具体的。
outside it. If you buy a painting, you buy also the look of the thing it represents.
£22.10. Now £11.10.
And this one?
That's £17.10.
Isn't this silver?
No, dear, silver plate. The mother of pearl hand.
Paintings often show treasures. But paintings have become treasures themselves. Art galleries are like palaces, but they are also like banks. When they shut for the night, they are guarded, lest the images of the things which are desirable are stolen. The value of paintings has become mysterious. Where, we ask ourselves, does this value come from? About it, oft those who write about art or talk or teach about it often raise art above life, turning it into a kind of religion. In the first of these programs, I tried to show how and why modern methods of reproduction and communication, like color photography, like television, have theoretically changed the meaning of the visual art of the past, demystifying it and making it secular. But mostly those who use these new methods of reproduction and communication, those who write books or make television programs about art, tend to cling to the old approach. Art remains something sacred. A love of art seems automatically to be offered as a sublime human experience. Perhaps, though, we should consider this historical record. 2 films of 2 concerts given in Britain and Germany during the last war. Both films made as war propaganda to engender pride
Engender.
national cultural heritage. The first shows a concert in London given by Mara Hess. The second shows a concert in Berlin by Furtwängler. If the experience of art is sublime, it looks as though it can be sublimely independent of a lot of other values. So perhaps we should be somewhat wary of a love of art. You cannot explain anything in history, not even in art history, by a love of art. Let us look at a painting whose subject is an art lover. This picture, which shows a 17th century patron surrounded by his collection, tells us more about Europe and painting from Renaissance onwards than hundreds of art books or essays on aesthetics. What does it show? The sort of man for whom painters painted their paintings. What are these paintings? Before they're anything else, they are objects which can be bought and owned. Unique objects. A patron cannot be surrounded by music or poems in the same way as he is surrounded by his pictures. Does this special ownership of pictures engender a special kind of pride?
持つことがプライドを生むで。
What is their advantage over walls of stone or wood? They show him sights. There are many different subjects. What the pictures all have in common is that they are painted with oil paint. From about 1500 to 1900, the visual arts of Europe were dominated by the oil painting, the easel picture. This kind of painting had never been used anywhere else in the world before. The tradition of oil painting was made up of hundreds of thousands of unremarkable works.
Unremarkable.
目
立たなかった。
all over the walls of galleries and private houses, rather in the same way as the reserve collection is still hung in the National Gallery. If, as we are normally taught to do, we emphasize the genius of the few and concentrate only on the exceptional works, we will misunderstand what the tradition was really about. European oil painting, unlike the art of other civilizations and periods, placed a unique emphasis on the tangibility, the solidity, the texture, the weight, the graspability of what was depicted. What was real was what you could put your hands on. The idea that a thing is only real if you can pick it up may be connected with the idea of taking a thing to pieces to see how it works. At the beginning of the tradition of oil painting, the emphasis on the real being solid was part of a scientific attitude. But the emphasis on the real being solid, on being what you could put your hands on, became equally closely connected with a sense of ownership. These scientific instruments were used for navigation. They were painted at the time when the world trade routes to Europe were being opened up by the heroic voyages which we learned about in school, bringing European civilization to the rest of the world. It tends to be forgotten that these voyages were the start of the European slave trade and the traffic which began to siphon the riches of the rest of the world into Europe. Christopher Columbus wrote from Jamaica, "Gold is a wonderful thing. By means of gold, one can even get souls into paradise." In 1519, Magellan set out to sail around the world. He and an astronomer friend with whom he had planned the voyage were to keep 20% of the profits made and the right to run the government of any land they discovered and conquered. This globe charts Magellan's voyage around the world. Beside it is a book of arithmetic, a hymn book, and a lute. To conquer a land, it was always necessary to convert it to Christianity.
By means of gold, you can even get souls to paradise. Seems good.
The picture was painted in 1533 by Holbein. It shows two French diplomats in London. The picture is about science, about navigation, about diplomacy, about power. But in the way that it has been painted, in the way that it has been seen, what is it most about?
You can even get sold to paradise.
There is not a surface in this picture which does not denote wealth. There is not a surface which has not been elaborately and skillfully worked. Except for their faces and hands, every square inch of the canvas has been gone over numerous times by weavers, embroiderers, carpet makers, mosaic makers, leather workers, farriers, jewelers, and last of all, by Holbein. They are too many convinced that the world is there to furnish their residence in it. The seafaring instruments have been placed on an eastern carpet.
Has been got over.
Without the first, the second would not be there. Implicit in the rise of European Christian culture was the destruction of other cultures.
What is most
but the Europeans saw it differently. They believed that their civilization was in all respects more advanced than any other. The African kneels to hold up an oil painting to his master. The painting he is holding depicts the castle above one of the principal centers of the West African slave trade. Many works of art in other cultures
it's very
and periods
useful to learn
have
those
celebrated
sentences.
wealth and power. Gods, princes, and dynasties were worshipped. But these
I
works were
will
static,
check.
ritualistic, hierarchic, symbolic.
OMG,
They
is
celebrated
there
a
a verb
social
for
or
eel?
divine order. European oil painting served a different kind of wealth. It glorified not a static order of things, but the ability to buy and furnish and to own. Before the invention of oil painting, medieval European painters often used gold leaf in their pictures. Afterwards,
Gold leaf.
gold disappeared from their paintings and was only used for their frames. But sometimes the paintings themselves were simple demonstrations of what gold, of what money could buy. A certain kind of oil painting celebrated merchandise in a way that had never happened before in the history of art. Merchandise became the actual principal subject of these works. Eating is a pleasure, but these paintings cannot be eaten. They are a demonstration of something else. First of all, of the artist's virtuosity. Secondly, of the owner's wealth.
食べられない食べ物を持つことが
Livestock. Not animals in their natural condition, but animals whose pedigree is emphasized and whose pedigree is a proof of their value.
Pedigree.
系譜血統 pedigree.
Whose pedigree emphasizes the social pedigree of their owners. They are painted like pieces of furniture, a table or chair with 4 legs. Objects. Objects which, significantly enough, became known as objets d'art. Houses. Buildings not considered as ideal works of architecture as in the work of some of the earlier Renaissance artists, but buildings considered as landed property. Portraits were equally important. Portraits of the owners of the paintings, and the owners of much else besides.
Oh, I also learned to pronounce fungi lul.
Fungi.
These paintings did not directly celebrate what was buyable. They were records of the confidence of those to whom ownership brought confidence.
菌類
Those who could buy banquets,
Fungus.
bulls,
Fungi.
houses, hung on their walls, generations of portraits, painted to celebrate a continuity of power and worthiness.
菌類
There were hundreds of thousands of such portraits.
いいね。ナイスワ
But those they depicted represented an exceedingly small fraction of the population.
Fungi equals fungi.
The poor have neither annals nor portraits.
Fungi.
Their lives are unrecorded. But again, the style with which the average portrait was painted reveals something about the basis of this confidence and of this so-called dignity of the sitter.
This text to voice is wrong.
They were painted as though they were a strange mixture of livestock, furniture, and tailor's dummies. Every portrait is a record which says, I once existed and looked like this. These portraits say, in addition, I was an object of respect and envy. I had only to raise my hand to receive attention. Everybody's clothes indicate social status. But the clothes and feathers and jewelry of these women make exaggerated claims. It is their clothes, not their faces, which dazzle. The faces of women in many European paintings are like the faces of swimmers in seas of silk and satin. Oil painting could paint these materials as they had never before been painted. There were also paintings whose subjects were taken from classical literature, subjects which today seem quite remote, unsubstantial, dreamlike.
Unsubstantial.
Unsubstantial. 失礼しないで dream
Dreamlike.
夢希代形
So when the pictures were bought, classical mythology was part of the specialized knowledge of the privileged minority. And these paintings helped them to visualize themselves whilst displaying the classic virtues, making the...
Whilst.
Whilst その間に whilst
classic gestures. The paintings were the settings for charades in which they themselves would play. The props were given, the spirit of the performance.
Props.
プロップ入れた気もするな。
was left to the owner's imagination. The figures were like garments held out for the spectator owners to put their
Garments.
衣類
arms into and wear. Here, the daughters of the family dress up as graces, decorating hymen. But the dressing up didn't happen.
少女膜背面
to be as literal as that. The spectator wore the clothes and played his part, just in imagination. Who would you guess she was meant to represent? Different painters see her differently. But do these paintings have anything in common? And if so, what is it that they all convey? These pictures are all from the National Gallery and are all of Mary Magdalene. The point of the original story is that a prostitute so loves Christ that she repents of her past and comes to accept the mortality of flesh and the immortality of the soul. In each case, the way the picture is painted contradicts the essence of the story. The method of painting, the way of seeing, can only envisage her as being
envisage.
Envisage さっきやったな。
everything else takeable. The hypocrisy is sexual.
Hypocrisy.
Hypocrisy.
偽善者。
The title suggests sacred love. The painting, with title as alibi, speaks of profane love.
Alibi.
Alibi.
不在証明。Alibi.
Alternatively, she is simply a well-dressed, eligible young woman. The tangibility of her wardrobe, the elegance of her presence is all. It's a portrait that might have been painted of her for her future husband on the occasion of their betrothal.
Betrothal.
ベトラーフ、エンゲージメント。結の翻訳。
Saying applies least of all to landscape painting, or to the great late masters of landscape painting like Constable or Turner or Monet. But even there, in the development of landscape painting, the faculty of oil painting to celebrate property did play a certain role. This is what Sir Kenneth Clark says about Gainsborough.
At the very beginning of his career, his pleasure in what he saw inspired him to put into his pictures backgrounds as sensitively observed as the cornfield in which are seated Mr. and Mrs. Andrews. This enchanting work is painted with such love and mastery that we should have
Mastery.
Mastery. 習熟制御。
expected Gainsborough to go further in the same direction. But he gave up direct painting and evolved the melodious style of picture making by which he is best known.
Now look at it another way. The way I would use it for my argument. They have become not a couple in nature, as Rousseau imagined nature. Theirs is private land. Look at their attitude towards it. The attitude is visible. If a man stole a potato at that time, he risked a public whipping. The sentence for poaching was deportation.
Poaching.
Without doubt, among the principal pleasures this painting gave to Mr. and Mrs. Andrews was the pleasure of seeing themselves as the owners of their own land. And this pleasure was enhanced by the ability of oil paint to render this land in all its substantiality. The surrealist painter Magritte commented on this faculty of
Leet.
マグリって。はい。
The painted landscape stands in for the real one. A number of great painters used oil paint to express their own highly personal and exceptional visions. They, in many ways, contradict my argument. They also contradict the tradition from which they sprang. This picture by Rubens celebrates the park and farmland surrounding the chateau he lived in.
Chateau.
But the
Chateau.
城。
chateau and its owners are far away. Hunting is free. The fields are golden. The landscape is like a counterpane on a bed.
Counterpane.
ベッドカバー、カーテンペイン。
It is a painting which goes beyond its traditional category. It is not a painting about a castle and its lands. On the contrary, it shows a world without scarcity, a world of plenty, a world that
Scarcity.
Scarcity. 希少性不足。
that is, which contradicts
珍しさ。
the entire history of private property. There's a painting of a woman by Vermeer, which at first sight confirms everything I have said. It would seem to be the ideal illustration of my argument. She's weighing gold in a pair of scales, or perhaps also
weighing
so weighing the pearls strewn on the table. Her interest is commercial. In the way the scene is painted, the substantiality and tangibility of everything is emphasized. Everything suggests the solidity of a Dutch middle-class home. Even the painting of the Last Judgment on the wall behind her. A painting on the wall is a mark of prosperity. But go on looking. Gradually, the painting becomes more mysterious, less easily explainable in my terms. The light falls on her face, on the scales, on the pearls. The moment has been preserved. And as we realize that, the way that it has been preserved, we realize that like every moment, it was unrepeatable. It is as
Peterborough.
though she's holding the moment between her forefinger and thumb on the scales of the past and the future. Despite its apparent celebration of property, this painting is about the mystery of light and time as we look up at the stars. Not for one moment would I deny or belittle the significance and achievement of paintings like these. But we should not confuse these exceptional paintings, and everything in the museums, everything said by art experts, encourages this confusion. We should not confuse such exceptional works with the purpose and significance of the general tradition. Let me show the difference again, this time at the highest level. Two self-portraits by Rembrandt. One when he was young, one when he was old. But the difference between them isn't just a question of how age changes a man's character. In the first painting, Rembrandt used the style and methods of the tradition for their traditional purposes, as an advertisement for the owner's good fortune, prestige, and wealth. In the later painting, he has turned the tradition against itself. All has gone, except a sense of the question of existence as a question.
問題の疑問。
Intermittently, the
インタ
tradition
ミテント
agreed
リ
with
ー
itself,
Intermittently.
チラチラ断続的
a counter-tradition. But the basic
Intermittently.
values of the tradition win in the end.
伝
This
統的
painting
な
now has a
価値観
fabulous price on its head,
かつ
perhaps £3 million. It has itself become a fabulous object of property. Of course, a lot more can be said about European oil painting than I have said. Yet what I have tried to show is a fundamental part of the truth which is usually ignored. We study other cultures far away as anthropology. That's to say, we study them
Anthropology.
人類学分子アンソポロジー
from the outside. We don't judge them purely according to their own explanations of themselves. Now, if we look at the culture of the European oil painting in the same spirit, leaving aside its own claims for itself, I believe we will find that oil painting was, before everything else, a medium which celebrated private possessions. The tradition of the oil painting has now been broken once and for all. In some ways, publicity has taken its place. The sight of it makes us want to possess it.
所有が意味ある、所有がアートを加速させた。
And publicity is the subject of our program next week.
Here.
And the final part of Ways of Seeing is right here on BBC.
Sure. 短いの見るかと思ったけど、ダメかな。よし、アニメーシング、オーバー。はい、I think. Thanks. I will sleep today. そう、stream is over. See you tomorrow.
Haha, sounds good, Jam.
Wow, workout is ended. じゃあ、アドバタイザーで払いで。誰かおるかな。じゃあ皆さん、良い日曜をお過ごしください。レイドどっかにしよう。じゃあ、ここにレイドして終わろう。オイルペインティングでいいつながりかな。じゃあ、なさそう。じゃあ、Have a good day.Have a good night. バイバイ。
ありがとうございます。レイド。Thank you。ありがとうございます。すいません。ありがとうございます。
じゃあ、お疲れ様でした。バイバイ。